I'll be watching Moody Booty Podcast, and I can't wait for next week's episode. Yeah!
Hey everybody, welcome back to Moody Booty Podcast. I'm your host, Alicia Nashay, but you already knew that. So I'm just going to kind of just jump right into it just because it's so late at night. It's literally 11:42 at night, and I have to literally be up in a couple hours for work. So it's probably not going to be, I'm going to try to not keep it going too long, but I didn't want to save this for tomorrow or another day. It's because I'm feeling it like right now. And for those who are new, you are in the second dimension. And in the second dimension, we film and document right now things to talk about and feel and heal right now. So, I mentioned in a few second dimensional episodes ago me running into a guy, and basically that same guy has resurfaced. So for those who are watching my podcast for the first time and you stumbled across this episode, I met this guy. Actually, so in my I'm going to try to do it to where it makes sense. Give me some time. Sorry. But a couple weeks ago, I was driving home from my friend's house, and I get home, and it's roughly darker than I normally would come back from their house. I usually try to, anyway, whatever. It was a little later than normal. And so I'm parking the car, I get out the car, I'm on the phone with one of my friends, and I start walking towards my apartment. And because it was darker, what I'm about, like, the experience itself probably made it weirder just because it was darker, but the situation was still weird, at least to me. So, I'm walking one way, the guy is walking another way, but we're about to pass each other like this. And we're in the dark, and where I live, there's like a lot of trees and stuff. So it's easy to like kind of feel closed in, especially at night, like with the cars and then the sidewalk being so small and then the trees right next to it. Like, it's a whole thing. So when he was kind of like, when we were about to pass each other, I was already like a little paranoid just because it was at night. I am a woman. He's a guy. And we were kind of like, tucked away. And so he kind of like stops like after he passes me. And he's like, he gives me some sort of compliment. I think I may have went into more detail about this in a couple episodes ago, but he stopped me he stops and he gives me a compliment. It was like, you're cute, or you're beautiful, or something like that. And I was just like, thank you. And I just like kept it pushing. And I remember I was like a little bit more dry just because like I didn't want to even leave opportunity or room to like want to like talk some more at all. And thankfully, he left it at that, and I made it back to my apartment. Well, so like I said, that was a couple weeks ago. Last week, I'm like trying to be more active and everything. And this sounds like deja vu. I definitely remember talking about this a couple episodes ago, but last week I was trying to like be more active and get out and like exercise, walk on my breaks and lunches, stuff like that. And so a couple days, this probably fell on a Wednesday, so I had like walked for like a couple days before I run into the guy again. Mind you, this was just last week. And I'm walking and I'm on the phone with the same friend, and instead of walking towards my apartment like the first time I ran into him, I was walking around my apartment, so I was walking away from my actual apartment. And anyways, I'm on the phone with my friend, like I said, and the guy, like hollers after me, like not saying my name or anything, obviously, not saying like my name or anything, but he was just like, hey, like, yo, like that type of thing. And so I look back and I stop and I just kind of stand still. I'm updating my friend about like what was happening. The guy is like approaching me at this point, and he's just like really in my face. Really friendly though, really friendly. I want to say the whole time of us like walking and talking, like that whole second encounter, he was really, really friendly. But he was just like overly in my face. Like he had like a stare, you know, he wouldn't break his eye contact, and he asked me like a lot of questions, like what I did for a living, what I did for hobbies, what my sign was, what my name was, how I felt about the weather, how I felt about living in Cali. He talked a lot about himself too. He told me what his sign was, what he did for work, what he likes to do, where he's from, how he travels, and things like that. And I, at the time, like, would talking with him, and you'll see it in, like, a couple episodes, I feel like I knew that it was, like, an uncomfortable thing, but how I chopped it up was, like, oh, girl, like, it's just you, like, being antisocial. Like, even though I still felt something was, like, weird, I just was, like, chopping it up to, like, you just need to, like, exercise, being more social, like, you need to, like, kind of, like, work on that. Like, if it wasn't him, it would have been somebody else that I swore was weird. Like, that's why I kind of was just, like, brushing it off. But I still felt like he was very forward. That was another thing I was mentioning. I was just like, you know, he was very, very forward. Like, he asked me for my number. He had asked me for my socials, or he asked me to add him on his socials. He had asked me to go on a date with him a couple of different times. I had to repeat myself a couple of different times. Like, I'm just fresh out of a relationship. I'm not looking for anything right now. Like, nah. And he was just like, okay, like, I respect it, and things like that. That same day, like, as we were walking around the apartments, when I was over it, I purposely, like, walked us towards, like, the front office. And, like, once we get, like, in that general area, like, away from my actual apartment, I was just like, hey, well, you know, like, I actually have to go. Like, my lunch is about to be over, da-da-da. And he was like, okay, like, yeah, no problem. He had asked me for my number, and I was just like, Instagram. Like, basically saying, like, no. But how the Instagram thing went is I added him on my phone. And at this time, my Instagram is private. So, like, him adding me and everything, he wouldn't have, like, been exposed to, like, any of, like, my personal stuff or pictures or anything like that, because my Instagram is private. And anyways, so that's why I said Instagram, and he was like, okay, yeah, that's fine. Like I said, like, he was friendly the whole time. He was making jokes, and that was that. But like I said, he was very forward. He felt, I just felt like, I'm trying to find the words even now, but, like, I just felt like, it was just like, you catch vibes, and it was just a vibe there. But like I said, it was almost like I was just trying to talk myself into, like, even when I made it back upstairs and I, like, jumped back on the phone with my friend, mind you, she was actually on the phone with me the whole time, but, like, once we were alone, I was just like, see, like, I was trying to, like, get out and be active and, like, move around and stuff, and I was like, that experience alone is gonna make me, like, not want to, like, walk around anymore, and I was like, I need to get out of my own head. Like, I'm just so, like, I don't know how to say no to people, and it ruins my experience for, like, other things. So, like, that type of thing. And she was like, girl, well, you know, like, basically, like, you should still be able to live your life, like, you know, like, don't let him or anybody else, like, make you feel like you can't do simple things like walk around your apartment. And, you know, it's okay to just be like, hey, actually, I'm just walking right now, yada yada yada. And so that was that same day. For one, to go back a couple weeks ago when I said I ran into him at nighttime, what was I gonna say? When I said I ran into him at nighttime, that next morning I told my mom about it. I was just like, dang, Mom, like, it was so weird. Like, last night I ran into this guy. I was, like, a little scared, freaked out a little, because I was by myself. I was walking by myself. You weren't home. And this is what happened. So, like, I had already updated her that next day after seeing him that night. Then coming upstairs after my break and checking out his socials, I took a couple screenshots, and I sent it over to my mom, and I was like, Mom, the same guy that I told you about a couple nights ago, I ran into again on my lunch. Not even ran into him. He hollered after me, but whatever. So I was just like, this is the same guy, da-da-da. And she was like, was he creepy? And I, like, gave her, like, some more information or whatever. And then that was that. that was that. And that was, like I said, that was last week. That was probably like Wednesday or so. And today is Tuesday. So it was very recently. And anyways, this morning I wake up. I slept all night. I'm planning on getting out of bed, starting my meditation, doing my yoga, things like that. And I look at my phone, and all I see from my mom here, actually, I'll definitely try, like, when I'm editing this, I'll definitely try to, like, edit in, like, her screenshot, but I'll read it to you really quick. I have to, like, scroll because we were talking about a lot of this all day. Let's see. Okay, so here's my mom's message. I'm already asleep at this point, so she messaged me at 12:20 in the morning, but I'm already asleep. And so all I see as soon as I open my eyes is, Leja, be very careful. Maybe keep a taser, stabby thing, maybe even some mace, just in case. Did he see apartment? And I'm like, what is she talking about? Like, I'm just opening my eyes. Like, girl, what? Like, you know? So when I click into the message, it's pictures of him. And she knows what he looks like because, like I said, from his Instagram, I sent them straight to her. So here is even more backstory. She's in this group on Facebook. And so somebody within the group, it's like a whole bunch of women, right? A whole bunch of women, stranger. Like, she doesn't know all these women, basically. And so there's this one woman she posted in the group and was like, anyone have any information on this guy? And it's pictures of the guy. And some girl comments under it and says, I have been stalked by this man around my complex. He does not live here. He's followed me on walks, watched me walk into my house multiple times, and has tried to get violent with my friend by throwing a giant rock at them when he was asked to leave me alone. I am trying to get a restraining order, but I can't because the only info I have on him is a picture. No name, no nothing. And right there, it was like a full circle moment of, like, for me, I was upset with myself. And I was, like, a little embarrassed because, like, in that moment of, like, me in my few moments walking around with him and, like, being close with him and stuff like that, like, I remember the surface of our conversation, but I feel like I was so socially awkward and just kind of, like, ready to leave the situation. I wasn't listening to much of what he was saying. And overall, through, like, this experience and stuff, one thing that I've learned is, like, if I could pass on any advice or if I could just, like, remember to pocket it for myself, is to pay attention to what people are saying to you. Don't just brush them off, even when it's uncomfortable. Like, even in times where you feel like you can't help it, try to stay calm and just listen to everything that they say. If you even, for whatever reason, maybe have 2 cell phones or whatever, I would even recommend trying to record what they say and then use the other phone to be on the phone with somebody, something like that, or be on live or anything, because it was, like, really upsetting because, like, after I read her comment, I'm just like, I don't even know what his name was. Like, I don't even remember his name. Like, there was so many important details I really wish that stuck with me, and I genuinely don't remember them. And I know it was, like, like I said, like, the socially awkward part of me kicking in. Just kind of, I think I was alert about other stuff. Like, I'm not going to take that route. I'm trying to get him to, like, the front of the apartments. I don't want to walk too close with him. I don't want to walk in front of him. Like, I was, like, that's what I was thinking. So, like, when he was talking, I was like, yeah, and I was, like, more of so paying attention to route. And I hope in the future, I hope that this never happens again. But in the event that it does, I just hope that I could be, I can multitask everything and at least come out of the conversation knowing the person's name, because I felt her. And it was crazy because, like, I was, like, stirred up this morning. I still pushed on, like, with my meditation and stuff. I was still, like, stirred up. But, like, sometimes I feel like my emotions lag. Like, for when I make a joke out of everything, especially around people. Like, a lot of times, like, I'm just, like, fully able to feel something when I have a moment by myself. And so, it took a minute to, like, kind of actually feel everything. Not just being scared, but, like, the feeling of being, like, just, like, really, really uncomfortable. I kind of feel, like, a little played with. I feel, just, like, unsafe. It's, I'm still trying to come up with the feelings, but it feels uncomfortable, right? So on my first break, I walk over to my apartment, or my apartment office, and I speak with the manager, and I was just like, hey, I just wanted to ask, has anybody reported any weird man on the apartment property lately? And I already knew that they did based off of the page that my mom's in, the group that my mom's in. And so he kind of, like, looked at me and he, like, bobbed his head and he's like, yeah. He's like, I've definitely gotten a couple of complaints. I've even seen the guy. And this is where it gets, like, even weirder. He was just like, yeah, I've seen the guy. He was like, he actually came in here a couple weeks ago asking to tour the apartments. And he was like, I actually thought he lived here at first. But he was like, and then I started thinking, like, it was weird. He was like, 'cause I'd never seen him. He said that he told my office manager that he actually lives in the area, but he lives in, like, a condo, like, up the way. He told me that he's in and out of traveling, and that he's actually going to be, he told me this, that he's actually going to be leaving in a couple weeks or a couple months, one of the two, and that he's staying with his aunt in these apartments. So right there, it's, like, already two different stories. And then walking away from that conversation, I couldn't really stay and talk with him for too long because, like I said, I was on a break. But even talking with him, like, it's like I feel, like, scared for myself, yes. Like, I feel uncomfortable. I feel very triggered. It's like, yeah. So I feel very, very triggered, right? But, like, I also feel, like, a hurt, and I feel a hurt, and I feel scared for other women. Women who have gone through worse, women who have gone through similar things, women who could fall in a bracket just like me of chopping it up for, like, what I was stuck on was, like, God forbid, like, us women, we get approached all the time. And God forbid I just kind of, like, chopped it up for, like, oh, it was just another guy trying to get at me. And I never sent it to my mom. Like, I don't know what made me send it to her, but God forbid I never did. And then God forbid she was never in that group. And the one girl was never in that group for everybody to kind of collectively talk about things. Long story short, the girl actually lives in my apartments. And she's doing her own, I'm not going to, like, talk, like, her name or share any personal things about her, because whatever. But I spoke with her, my mom spoke with her, and she's trying to, basically do what she can on her end to protect herself, like, and stuff like that. And it's just, like, really, really weird. She's actually had, like, a way more intense experience than I have. I don't know how long I don't really know, like, how her and his relationship escalated to where they actually have problems. But for me, I'm a little worried because, like, I didn't shoo him away, and I didn't come off like I didn't want to talk and things like that. My friend now that was on the phone with me, she actually tried to kind of, like, save me, rescue me, like when we were on the phone. But the thing is she was on FaceTime that day that I was with him. She was on FaceTime, and I felt like it just seemed obvious, and I was so far away from my apartment. It's like and I don't know. It was just weird. Like I said, he was very like very watchy and stuff. And so I think in my mind, like, I don't think I went about it the right way, but I think in my mind at that time I was trying to keep things just like as like civil and like calm as possible, because like it was very, very weird. It was very weird. And what was I gonna say? I'm sorry, I kind of like forgot what I was trying to say. I feel like I made the mistake to come off as friendly as I did and to befriend him. So like I just, and then after talking with the manager, he was saying like, oh yeah, somebody said that they saw him yesterday. He's like, I didn't see them. He was like, my staff, the security, the maintenance men, everybody's aware of him. They know to look out for him. So if you see him, definitely call the cops. He said that a couple of days ago, he actually saw the guy on somebody's patio, and that he called the people that lived at that apartment that the guy was on the patio. Hopefully that made sense, because I know I'm stumbling. I'm tired as hell. But so like he calls the people that live in that apartment, and he was just like, hey, like I saw, this guy there, da da da, like, it's and whatever words happened, because I wasn't there, but in the nutshell it was basically like, hey, like what's going on with that. And then the girl that lives there was just like, oh yeah, like my boyfriend's really, really friendly, and unfortunately let him in. And then the manager, our office manager, was just kind of like, I don't know the words that were said, but basically like, hey, like let's shut that down type of thing. And I just feel really, really bad, because the girl that was on the page with my mom, she actually happens to live in that exact same building as the guy who let the creepy guy in. Again, hopefully all this is making sense, but it's just like, it was, I don't even know. And so like for me, like I said in the beginning, I was shook up. Like I was just more of like nervous. Like, oh my God, how is this real life? Like it was just like a lot to take in at 6 in the damn morning, right? And then like I kind of just started like being easy. And then something between like the noon time and now, it's like really, really been taking over me. Like I said, I just kind of feel like toyed with. I feel like I was like plotted on, honestly, and I know it could have been so much worse. Like I thank God for not having not one hair touched on my pretty little head, my pretty little big head, or just anything. Like I made it back to my home with the doors locked. This was a week ago, but it's just like it's still tripping me up. It's still tripping me up, and I think I'm taking it like more personal, because like I said, it's scary that I fear for other women. I fear for that woman that's being affected right now, trying to get it and having the hardest time doing so. I feel bad and hurt for just hearing the office manager saying like, oh yeah, like he came here asking for a tour. It just kind of like made bells go off in my head. Like how many other apartments is he going to and asking for the exact same thing, making up 1,000 lies. Like when I was walking around with him, he didn't smell like horribly stank. Like, like if you're like in a public setting and like somebody walks past you, like it is an odorous, like for a couple of minutes, like that whole section is just stank. It wasn't like that. He smelled the smell of like when your parents say like, ooh, you smell like you've been outside, like you smell like outside. He just smelled like outside, but like a light musk, like maybe, he got a little warm but forgot to wear deodorant that day type of thing. Like that's what it was. So it just made, and it was hot that day. And he was wearing a long sleeve. It was just, things were just weird about the whole thing. And anyways, so going back to my point, it just makes me like nervous. Like there's so many kids, like even my drive, like just down my neighborhood, like if I'm coming from Walmart or heading to wherever in the neighborhood, there's little kids, teenagers, what have you, that walk home from school. And like, I haven't seen this guy walking towards a car, come out of a car, or driving a car yet. And so to be on foot, or to just kind of like have your ways, like it is scary. And it's like, I was telling my friend, like, I'm just like, it's so weird because like he was like so nice and da da da, not in a way that like, I still felt, like I said, I still felt like there was something off, but my whole point was like he wasn't coming off confrontational. I'm not saying like, oh my god, like he was so nice to me, like it's not like that I believed what he had going on for a second. It was just more of like a oh, going off of the girl's post, how she was like, oh, he got aggressive, threw a rock, da da da. That was where I was like, how did I get so lucky to get away from this guy twice? And if he really wanted something, like it was just like that's more of what I was saying. I was like, it's just so crazy, like he was so nice, da da. And she's like, Alicia, let me tell you something, like, like that's how it is. They know exactly who to watch and who to prey on, and normally they'll approach you right just like that. And she was like, anybody who approaches you too happy like that, like you basically should note that down. Mind you, she was the one on the phone with me the whole time. She was like, I knew something wasn't right and everything. And yeah, so like that's just been like the experience today. And so yeah, it definitely makes me like uncomfortable. I hope that the apartments within like the area definitely try to work together, especially if that is a thing, a new something that's happening around here. Like, I just hope that can get shut down, because it's just, like I said, it's really, really scary. And he said that he travels like in the country and out of the country, and that he either had just got back from like Georgia or Texas, like one of the two. And that's even like triggering and like worrisome for me too, because I'm just like, both of those states are like high with sex trafficking and just things like that. So I don't even know. It's just, and I know I can't like go throughout like life without fear. And I think that's like, it's like I'm feeling so many things. So like with that, it's like I'm already like worked up and like worried and kind of like scared about so many things. And I know that this sort of topic has been a thing for forever. Like, there's just people out there that have bad intentions. I know that. But when it's in your face and it's like I'm already trying to work on myself, it's just frustrating. It's frustrating, and it feels like 10 steps back. Like I said, I'm happy and I'm so blessed and thankful that nothing happened to me, that nothing happened to my mom. Even the girl down the way, she's still safe. But it's still just like mentally, I feel like I said, it's like a different trigger every single time I walk closer to like my front door. Like if I'm coming into my room or something, or like a little bit ago we were on the couch and we were watching a movie, and I just like, I don't like, now I have new thoughts in my head, like, oh my god, like across the way in that other apartment building is somebody on the stairs watching me, or in their patio watching, like, it's like, I don't want to have to think like that, like, it's just like so frustrating. So there's that. And then my final thought, and then I'm definitely going to close out, and we will close out with some cards, but I hate that I was approached so quickly after the breakup. I think he was probably the first guy to have approached me, and I hate that. Because I'm already trying to work on myself, not only heal things that have I don't want to only heal things that have to do with me, but there's so many things that happened to me or have changed me since being in, a relationship and out of a relationship. And so like with this guy and like the situation, it's like I'm already having a hard time thinking that eventually I'll find something that's like for me. So like for this to be like the first experience, it was already too soon. But like just like, and then it was this type of outcome. It's just like, it's unsettling. Like it's like I feel like it's pushing me further away from it. And I'm okay with that not being like something I want to pursue, like being in a relationship. Like, I'm okay with that. It just, if y'all knew me, like, it only takes it one time for me to like never want to do something again. And so it's just like yeah, like I said, I'm just trying to like it's so annoying. But yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna go ahead and leave it here. I will go ahead and do some cards, but that is what happened today. I felt very, very disconnected from my phone also. I felt really, really bad about that, but like, I don't know, I felt really, really frazzled. Like, this whole thing like took up like damn near, I would say like a good percentage of my work day. Like, I couldn't really focus. I was just like really, really wound up. And as the hours passed, like I said, it was like weighing on me even more. Just like the whole situation. And definitely looking into like more security and like safety gadgets for women and things like that. I was jokingly, I love my friends, by the way. I was jokingly on the phone with one of my friends, and I was just like, oh my God, like me and that one girl, that the girl that lives here, I was like, me and her should meet up, and we should go to Walmart and like print out hella pictures of his face and like plaster them all around the apartments. And my friend was like, you should do that. And it's like, now she's like super adamant about me doing it. And then my other two friends said they would even come over and help me hang them up. Another detail, today after work, my mom said that she would like do some runarounds with me, just because like I was just like even like more scared to do that. And I don't want like anybody to be a crutch for me, right? But like in times like this, it makes it difficult to like not want somebody around. And it's hard because like right now, like I'm single, and you know, my friend group is smaller than a dot, and everybody is so spread out. I don't really have too much family out here. And then like my mom, like with her being in a relationship and stuff like that, it's just like, I don't know, I definitely feel like just like a little bit like alone, if that makes sense. And it's a good thing majority of the time, like 99% of the time. And then it's the 1%, like scenarios like this where I'm just like, it hits you all at once. But I love that my mom was here for me today. She like did her runarounds and she came immediately back home. I don't know if that was like purposely or not, but then we like ran out together, and I just felt like I felt good being around somebody. And so anyways, like we ran out together, we got dinner together, we just like sat at Five Guys while I ate, because she didn't really want to eat around then. And then we came back home, we watched a movie together, and then literally now I'm here with you guys. So I do appreciate that, but I just don't want to feel like I said, like having a crutch. Like I just want to be able to do this myself type of thing, even though I want to be by myself because it would feel safe to do so, but it doesn't feel safe right now. So I do appreciate like having somebody. Hopefully that makes sense. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead, like I said, and close out there. I did want to update while I had like the real raw feelings, but now I'm gonna switch over to do cards again. If this is your first episode tuning in, here's just like some like things that we're doing right now in the second dimension. I picked up a new game. The brand is called The Skin Deep, but the game is called The And the edition is called Healing. I picked 3 cards, 1, 2, 3, and I answer them for myself, by myself, to myself. And it's kind of like a little interesting, and more so like, yeah, like I said, interesting, because this game I ordered thinking that you're able to play by yourself, but really you're supposed to be playing with 2 or more people. So the questions get interesting, and how I answer I kind of got to get a little creative. So here goes the first question. When was the last time I misunderstood you, and why do you think I did? Ooh. And you know what, too? It's like, I also feel the need to, like, have an answer right away. Like, I've been needing time sometimes. This is a question to like really think about. When was the last time I misunderstood you, and why do you think? Okay, here's an over the surface one. I've already kind of talked about it in the second dimension a couple episodes ago, but when the breakup happened and everything was like really, really new. I mean, things are still very new, but this was like, I'm talking a couple days in. I swore that I was being so toxic for kind of like checking my phone. Like, after I blocked this guy, I was like checking my phone to see if he messaged me in our text messages. And I was like, this is so freaking toxic. Like, girl, like, why are you checking for him? And two, duh, like, there's no text messages going to just magically appear in your guys' thread because you blocked him. And it took that next day for me to like really like for it to click in, and I'm showing up for myself like, girl, like, it's not toxic, it's going to take time, like, this just happened, you're human, like, it's okay. Out of natural habit and reaction of constantly being in contact with somebody for the last 7 years, like, the urge to go reach for your phone to see if they messaged you or to see if anything would just be there is completely normal. And I feel like in that moment, that day before, I really was misunderstanding myself, and it was like eating me up, and I felt like complete shit. But I'm happy that I was able to like combat that and like turn it around and really explain it to myself, like, nah. And since then, it really helped. And not only that, I feel like in a sense, I also was able to like, I feel like by showing up for myself, I was able to like let that habit go. And I haven't done it since, honestly. So there's that card. And then here is the second card. What was the last thing to happen that challenged our trust in one another? What was the last thing to happen that challenged our trust in one another? Okay, keeping it light again. Financially speaking, I hope in a year you've like really worked this out, but like, girl, you need to save. Like, and when I say I'm saying financially speaking and save because with the whole trust thing, I feel like I'm finding myself like sometimes being irresponsible. And it's not that I'm making splurges on items, rather than I'm not always on time paying bills. So I'm a little disappointed with myself, and the trust isn't like there. Like, I want to be able to, for instance, like, say I'm about to be expecting a check, because it's payday, and it's like I already almost don't trust that like it's gonna work out the way it should. Like, logging into like certain, pay bill portals and paying stuff off and stuff like that. And I definitely want to have more trust for that. I just want to be more on it and prioritize more. And I just don't think that I'm not, when I say I don't trust myself to do it, I also don't want to take away from the fact that it's like I'm completely capable of doing it. It's just like, I don't know, I've just proven that I just can't trust myself. Last week, though, and I talked about this in a recent episode, I really held myself accountable. I go, you gonna log on to every fucking thing, and you gonna put money in every fucking thing. Excuse me, but it got bad. Like, I even talked about like one of my utility bills. That was like almost $800. Like, girl, like, what? Like, I didn't. That's challenging because I have so many things planned for myself. I also want to be able to splurge again. I want to be able to get myself a computer, or, there's just certain things that like I want to be able to catch up on, and it's like I can't because I'm in my way financially. And I just wish that, like, you feel me? Yeah, I don't want to overtalk, but hopefully y'all, people who get it. Here's the last card. And it says, what was the last thing to happen that reinforced our trust in another? Okay, I spent time talking about why I lost trust in myself, and now I have to say when's the last time I reinforced trust in myself. Here's one. So for the last bit now, I mean, I'll say like the last year and a half, 2 years, I've dealt with extreme anxiety, but a lot of like stomach issues, stomach pain, just stomach. Everything for the first year was just like everything was stomach. Like I'd be like, does my stomach hurt? Oh my God, I don't feel good. I don't feel good. I don't feel good. I don't feel good. It was like a whole thing all the time. And finally getting into a place with like this, like my physical healing journey, it's like I think I finally am at a place where I can say I trust myself in that aspect. Like trusting trusting my self-talk. Like, and we self-talk over here, babes. Like yeah, it's a whole thing. And it took a minute. And it's so crazy how much your body and mind are connected. Your stomach and your mind are connected. And I think once I was able to have my own language from my head to my stomach, I feel like we really understood each other, and it just went up from there. You know, like some days, you know, I'm still shaky down there, but I've come such a long way, and it's like I'm at myself, and I'm listening to myself, my intuition, and kind of like playing with my regimen and certain things of healing, and it's working. And like I said, it's just constantly showing up for myself, being patient with myself, seeing what works and what doesn't, and before you know it, it's like you're just kind of like trusting yourself. Taking it a step further, I know this is going to sound weird, but even ending the relationship, that was a hard thing to do, but like I literally trusted myself, trusted that like this is what's meant, period. And taking it another step further, you would be like how I already said, you would be surprised how much your mind and your stomach and your physical state are connected. Like if you were in any sort of bad anything, negative anything, toxic anything, it takes such a toll on your physical being. And I know a lot of people know that, but it's like it really kicked in, like, watch, girl, like let's just see how much things heal for you physically. We're talking about physical right now. Let's just see like what tweaks are made by you just closing certain chapters of your life. And it just goes with trusting myself, you know. And then I'm not gonna sit there and be like, oh my God, my whole life has changed, like I'm a brand new woman, because everything is still very fresh. But when I say I've already seen improvements, and the improvements literally come from just making certain choices for myself and trusting that they were right for me, you know? So there's that. I've answered 3 cards for the episode. I'm going to go ahead and click off, but I do hope you guys have a good rest of your day or night, whichever one you are in, and I'll see you in the next second dimensional episode. Bye, guys.